his midriff was on her bumper, and he reached across the hood of the car and shot her in the face like 3 or 4 times, Heller said. Heller said it appeared the woman then accelerated and traveled about 100 feet before striking a utility pole and some other vehicles. She could be seen slumped over inside her car, and there's a new video that I just saw that's a minute long that captures ICE involved in the shooting. Folks, this is a midweek check-in with Danielle Moodie, who is joining us from an undisclosed location. And the reason why she looks so fantastic, in addition to the beautiful black skin, is because she's outside the United States of, she's outside of the United States of America, and she's like, "This is great. I don't have to worry about measles and polio and the whooping cough and random masked ICE agents shooting me in the face." There's so much news, but we might as well talk about this news, which is slightly breaking.
Yeah.
And I just informed Danielle about it. So folks, just stick with me and I'll explain it to you all as I explained it to Danielle. ICE. Oh, you know, the masked armed agents that are terrorizing blue cities and going after brown and black people, that ICE, that Gestapo. Well, a witness earlier today, there was a shooting in South Minneapolis, told NPR News that she saw a federal agent shoot a woman several times. Emily Heller lives near 33rd and Portland and said she woke up to a commotion outside her home. She said she saw a car blocking traffic on Portland Avenue that appears to be part of a protest against federal law enforcement operations. Heller said she heard ICE agents telling the driver, a woman, to, quote, "get out of here." Quote, she was trying to turn around and the ICE agent was in front of her car, and he pulled out a gun and put it right in, like his midriff was on her bumper, and he reached across the hood of the car and shot her in the face like 3 or 4 times, Heller said. Heller said it appeared the woman then accelerated and traveled about 100 feet before striking a utility pole and some other vehicles. She could be seen slumped over inside her car, and there's a new video that I just saw that's a minute long that captures ICE involved in the shooting. It's a suburban area. There's a car blocking, and the 2 ICE agents get out. And then all of a sudden, the ICE agent just shoots in the car, and then people are screaming and yelling. Danielle.
First,
I'm seeing you right now.
I know. And folks, this is breaking news, and it is horrific, and it is disgusting, and it is disturbing. And people should be pouring out into the streets in protests against this Gestapo police. That being said, this is not the first time that this has happened. Unarmed Black people have been murdered in this country in the same exact way over and over and over again. People shot in their car, people shot running away, people shot with their hands up. Like, the ICE is doing what regular law enforcement has been doing in this country to Black people and to brown people for eons and eons. It is not to minimize, but it is to say that this has been the policy of law enforcement in this country. I am certain that when more information comes out that the person that was shot in the face is not going to be Caucasian. I am certain that, like, there is money that I can put on things that I can assume that it is not a white woman that was shot in the face. And if it is, I will be shocked. Right?
And if it is, white folks, we've been telling you on Democracy Issue, you won't be safe. You won't be safe.
And so it's like, you hear these stories, and I just talked about this with Jared right before I was live with Jared, and said, when the government destabilizes the economy, when jobless numbers go through the roof, and then the only employer becomes the empire, right? Becomes ICE or becomes the military. And then now you are deciding between putting food on your own table and medicine in your cabinets and taking care of your own or your country. What are people going to decide? They always choose the empire, even though the empire we know will chew you up and spit you out. But the reality is that Donald Trump's economic collapse, purposeful economic collapse, is contributing to people recognizing, well, if there are 1.1 million Americans that are unemployed, and Donald Trump is saying, sign up and I'll give you a $60,000 cash sign on, I'll forgive your student loans, and I'll give you six figures. You just have to kill some people and look the other way. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? Right? Like, what do you think is going to happen? So they're creating the conditions to get the army that they need to follow through with the ends that they have, because they've created the economic desperation that gives people no alternatives.
And we've talked about it on Democracy-ish, folks, and it's completely tied to what Danielle is saying. You're like, oh, these are just two brown people ranting and raving. Well, it's 2026. America's largest wealth transfer, wealth theft, is about to happen thanks to the GOP's billionaire bill. Right, Danielle? Permanent tax cuts for the rich. The rich have gone richer as everyone has gone poorer. Billionaires have made more money. Elon Musk is about to become the world's first trillionaire. The top 1% have about as much wealth as the entire middle class in America. All that is happening. What people haven't focused on, and we've always tried to focus here on Democracy-ish, is yes, you're going to have permanent tax cuts for the rich by gutting Medicaid. So now you're going to have a sick population, especially as RFK is going all in as a death merchant as of 2 days ago, just completely eradicating vaccines, if you've seen. Huge increase in measles, huge increase in whooping cough. And now formerly experts who've been kicked out of the CDC have said they worry about polio coming back. You have a sick population that mistrusts institutions, that isn't taking vaccines. The life expectancy in this country has gone down, folks. Down. We have a healthcare system that is completely broken. Healthcare cost has gone up because Republicans, being death merchants, have decided not to expand the Obamacare subsidies. Medicaid, like we said, is about to get gutted. The economy is about to go to hell, especially due to Donald Trump's trade wars that have caused the price of everything to go up. Job market is contracting. Unemployment is up. Inflation is up. Furthermore, the billionaires have said, well, it doesn't matter because if AI is successful, we're going to replace all of you. They've said all of it. And finally, bringing it back to the police state, the security state, and why I use the word Gestapo, the big, beautiful bill. Everyone talks about the permanent tax cuts. What did that big, beautiful bill also do? Give $170 billion to ICE and private prisons. 10,000 more ICE agents, which makes ICE, if it was a country, if ICE was a country,
the 16th strongest
17th,
military.
17th largest
17th.
military.
Okay.
And the rest of the money has gone to private prisons and detention centers. Danielle, private prisons and detention centers make money by eating bodies. So if you create more private prisons and detention centers, they'll be hungry without bodies. Where are the bodies going to come from, Danielle?
Oh, I don't know. Remember in Andor when they changed the rules of the empire and all of a sudden minimum sentences for shoplifting, which would run you like a month in prison if you got caught, all of a sudden were 6 years and 7 years and 10 years? Well, when you have the criminals that are actually writing the laws, what do you think is going to happen? They are going to begin to criminalize things that were not had no criminal association. Well, we know that Black and brown people, just by virtue of us existing, our skin is criminal, right? And so what is going to happen is that protesting, right? You're going to be named as a terrorist, as an enemy of the state. Journalists that speak out, that are independent, you will be the enemy of the state. Anyone that is harboring or protecting undocumented people or brown people or what have you will be seen as what? The enemy of the state. And so you will fill up those detention centers, that 80,000 mini CCOT that Donald Trump wants to create, with turning empty warehouses into 80,000 beds, right? For detention centers, it's going to be filled with Americans. The other day, we had, and I don't remember which one of the regime's social media accounts posted America after 100 million people are deported, and it showed a palm tree, a beach, and like an old car out
Yeah, yeah.
front, and it said, this is what it will be. And folks started doing the math, saying 100 million people deported. Well, if we break down the population of undocumented people, you break down the population of naturalized citizens, that still leaves about 40 million Americans that they're going to dispose of in order to create their utopia. So it's where are the bodies going to come from? We are the bodies. Right? Like, and again, I said this, an hour ago. I don't know what it is going to take to get the American people into the streets the way that the Iranian people have been in the streets for 2 weeks, the way that the French have been in the streets and South Koreans have gotten into the streets and so on and so forth. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe because we have seasonal participation is what I call it, Wash. Like, we're in winter right now. It's too cold to go outside. So we have seasonal participation, seasonal resistance when it fits in with our brunch schedule and a Netflix fucking streaming show.
When it starts affecting white people, pardon me for being so blunt. If you're a student of U.S. history, you know that white lives matter more, white tears matter more, white rage is understood and listened to. White grievance is empathized with when white people start suffering, and white people will start suffering because this very well could have been a white neighborhood. We've already seen white immigrants, folks. I remember back in the day, right during the start of the Trump administration, one of the first major cases of ICE manhandling a tourist was the American Pie 2 white Canadian actress who came here on a work visa. And apparently they said, we have problems with your work permit. And then they literally kept her in like a cell for 2 weeks. And she's like, what the hell? I'm a Canadian actress who comes here to work, right? So that was an attractive white woman. Then we saw what happened to Rameza Ostrich, the Turkish grad student who was kidnapped in broad daylight. You all saw the video because she wrote a pro-Palestinian op-ed. We saw what happened to Mahmoud Khalil. We saw what happened to I think Babur Singh, the Indian American Georgetown a doctorate who's married to a pro-Palestinian woman, right? So when it was happening to pro-Palestinians, when it was happening to immigrants, and we're like, wait, they're also going after white people now, right? But when it was the undocumented, when it was the Haitians, when it was the Venezuelans, it was go after them. And Danielle and I were saying, wait just a second, folks who are perfectly fine unleashing masked armed ICE agents against brown people and undocumented, because now that you have a Gestapo that is loyal to the United States of America, excuse me, loyal to Donald Trump, they can turn against you. And what we've seen in the past year, all the people out on the street, the white elders who came out for the No Kings rally, what did Pam Bondi call them? Terrorists, Antifa.
Yep.
And what did Donald Trump say as justification for his illegal strike? That Venezuela is sending fentanyl. It is not. Fentanyl does not come from Venezuela. But fentanyl now is a weapon of mass destruction. So, which I said, okay, all the people who use fentanyl in hospitals, the nurses, the doctors, are they terrorists? The people who are these white Rust Belt Trump voters who are addicted to fentanyl, are they now harboring a weapon of mass destruction? Danielle, right? You see how easy it is to crush opposition, right? To call everyone a terrorist and then say you're aiding and abetting terrorism and you are the enemy of the state, and voila, we're going to go after you. But until we do, we're going to detain you. And you know what? Guantanamo Bay, that was a good idea. We don't need to send you to Guantanamo Bay anymore. We have detention centers in America. The rich will get richer. Everyone else will get poorer. If you go against the state, the Gestapo will come after you. There's also the surveillance state, thanks to Palantir. Congratulations. You went after transgender students, less than 1% of the population. Do you feel great? Congratulations. You went after Somalis. You went after Haitians. Do you feel great again, America? Do you? Do you feel good? Let me know, all the Trump voters. Sorry for my pettiness.
I tell you, earlier today, I saw a post, and I'm going to do a longer video on it at a later time, that many experts are saying that America is on the way towards a genocide of transgender people.
Wow.
Right? That experts and analysts are saying that America is showing signs of moving towards a genocide of trans people, gender nonconforming people, etc. And these are the same warning signs that we got several years ago. America's backsliding. America's on this list, on that list, and nobody paid attention. You know, I saw the numbers break down today on social media. 77 million people voted for Donald Trump. 75 million people voted for Kamala Harris. 89 million people didn't vote at all who were eligible to vote, right? So while I think that, you know, the last election was not necessarily not manipulated with, the fact is that there were way too many people who really believed that they were going to ride out this second term the way that they rode out the first term. And I'm just like, again, the dinosaurs have tested the fences. The fences were America, and now they're going to conquer the world.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way, exquisite Jurassic Park reference. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And let's rant for a second because Mehdi Hassan, you all know Mehdi from Zateo. He's a Muslim American. He's a friend of mine. He did this tweet, and then in several WhatsApp groups that we're in, and with Muslim Americans, there's a lot of different WhatsApp groups here. You got your high school friends, your college friends, South Asians, Muslims, Antifa. I'm kidding, but because Mehdi said this was I think last week, and he said on Twitter, all the people who told me Donald Trump wouldn't be pro-war, all the people who said, don't vote for Kamala Harris because she's a warmonger, and the rest of us said it'll get worse. All the people within my own communities who said it. Well, what do you say now? So I took Mehdi's tweet and I sent it in all these Muslim American, because look, folks, I try to be honest. I call it my own. Even though majority Muslims went for, don't blame it on us, man. Majority of Muslims understood the assignment and went for Kamala Harris. All right. But there were people within all of our communities who said, Kamala Harris and the Democrats are going to be worse than Donald Trump. We're going to vote for Trump. And I said, this is inexcusable. And then other people said, I'm going to get tax cuts. And then other people said, ew, the trans, right? Because over 200 million people were. So then I sent I'm like, don't listen to me. You all love Mehdi. Here's Mehdi's tweet. How about the trans students? How about those trans students, huh? I thought he was against war. Mouse farts, not a peep. And I'm perfectly fine humiliating and ridiculing and shaming these people, at least for a week, Danielle, because you are selfish. You cared about yourself. You cared about your tax cuts. You wanted to punch down. You wanted to beat up trans people. You wanted to beat up undocumented people. You thought you'd be safe with your Tesla. You thought you'd be safe in your cul-de-sac. You drink rosé with Karen. You golf with Chet. Chet thinks you're the one good black, the one good brown, the one good Muslim. And you told me to my face, you know what? Maybe America needs a shakeup. You know what? Maybe this will be fine. You know what? We survived 4 years. We can survive another. And I said, a lot of people won't make it. A lot of people won't survive 4 years. At least 300,000 people, mostly kids, have already died, and that's an undercount because Elon Musk and Donald Trump got rid of USAID. Now it's breaking news. The New York Times, ICE agent fatally shoots a woman. This woman died because masked armed ICE agents, and by the way, she's not the only person who's died that ICE has killed. People have been kidnapped. People have been deported. People have been tortured.
I mean, before the end of 2025, what we knew of were at least 40 people that died in ICE detention. And again, that is what we know. I wrote in a note on Substack a couple of weeks ago, and I said, what scares the hell out of me about this regime is that we won't know until they are gone, and probably decades and decades and decades, if not centuries after this is done, the mass graves, the countless lives that have been lost. Because I'm telling you, I believe, Waj, that for every headline, for every person that makes it to a headline, there are probably 100 that don't.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right? So again, like, we talk about these isolated incidents, and we know for certain in our spirit and in our hearts that there are hundreds, if not thousands of people that have already died in ICE custody because of this regime, right? And so, I say all of the things that I'm shaming those people for a week is not enough, right? Because they have contributed to generational damage. Generational damage. You and I and those that are watching are not going to see, most likely. I'm going to be, you want to talk about blunt? I'm going to be so blunt, okay? Call me a hammer. Most of us watching this and on here right now are not going to see the end of this regime. That's how long I believe that they are going to be in power, and that's how many people I believe that they are going to take down in the process. And what we have to understand is that they are now emboldened. This is no longer just about running America. This is about running the Western Hemisphere. And you know what? They're not going to stop there. It is going to be about running the world. They're not trying to take a fucking piece. They're trying to take the whole goddamn thing. And you had Stephen Miller on fucking CNN with that motherfucker Jake Tapper saying nakedly, who's going to check us? Who's going to challenge our military? Who's going to confront us? We can take Greenland. We don't need military power to do that. We can take over Venezuela. We're not going to allow them to have elections. We're going to have the oil companies run it. We just seized a fucking oil tanker with no oil on it that Russia was protecting. We did that a few hours ago. That was this morning.
Yep.
So I'm like, folks, if you think that midterms is happening in like a few months, if you think that 2028 is happening, you are living inside of a fantasy world. And the only thing that is stopping this regime is the people, and the people right now are either too broken, too grief-stricken, or too oblivious to organize in the way that we are seeing populations organize around the world, because they are telling us and they are doing what it is that they promised that they would do in the 900-page manifesto that they wrote. And now they have 2026 version, right? And still, I'm looking for, where is the Democrats' fucking folder? Where is their fucking binder of opposition?
I'll tell you where the Democrats are. A reporter was asked yesterday, given what's happened in Venezuela, do you regret your vote to confirm Marco Rubio for Secretary of State? Chuck Schumer, I'm deeply disappointed in Marco Rubio. Meanwhile, Ken Klippenstein, who will be on at 2:30, got these photos. Schumer and Marco Rubio today, hugging it up and smiling.
Fuck Chuck Schumer. Like, fuck him. Fuck the establishment. Fuck all of them.
To the ends of the earth. Look at Europe. Remember that? Europe with the tepid criticism, light, mostly embrace of Donald Trump's regime change. Not even a regime change, as Ann Applebaum just told me, dictator swap in Venezuela. And then we said, oh, European leaders, well done. Let's see what happens when he comes after Greenland. The next day, he says, I want Greenland. Today, Marco Rubio said, we're going to buy Greenland. And then Europe's like, oh, shit. Well done, Europe. Well done, European leaders. See, it's a microcosm of exactly what we're talking about. Hey, if it doesn't affect me, it's okay. Let me normalize it. Let me be a remora and suck at the teat. Let me get what's mine. I'm scared. I won't speak up. I'll be safe. It's the Niemöller poem, right? Because he went through it in Nazi Germany. At first, he was complicit, and then he said, "Oh, then they came after me, and there was no one else left." Voila, ABC. What did you get by paying off Donald Trump? Throwing George Stephanopoulos under the bus for simply saying the truth that he's a rapist. What did you get, CNN? Well done. They still think you're pedophiles and rapists and enemy of the state. CBS, did you see the pathetic, disgusting launch of Tony DeCouple and CBS? Did you see? First and foremost, God is great, because the folks, the CBS News with CBS is now pretty much Pravda, U.S. government propaganda. And before I tell you all the story, yesterday they praised Marco Rubio. Can you believe that? CBS News anchor Tony DeCouple, who got the job for humiliating and mocking Ta-Nehisi Coates and promoting Israeli talking points last year. And Barry Weiss came in because she's been put in there by David and Larry Ellison, billionaires who are pro-Trump and pro-Netanyahu. She then rewards Tony DeKuppel, who's married to Katie Tur, who's also useless. Tony DeKuppel gets the promotion, leads CBS News, and on their initial night, did you see the hilarious tech mess up? The 10 awkward, humiliating seconds where they just completely effed up and Tony DeKuppel was lost. I mean, did you see it? It was
No,
awesome.
I didn't see it.
Oh, it was awesome. And then yesterday, I want to just get this quote, if anyone has it, where Tony DeKuppel praised uh, praised Marco Rubio. Hold on, just give me a second. I want to get the exact quote. He ends it with, oh, here we go. Marco Rubio, we salute you. That's how Tony DeKuppel ended the CBS evening news broadcast yesterday. Danielle.
I mean, they succeeded. The idea was not that CBS was going to turn even into an extension of Fox. It was that people were going to lose faith and turn the channel and it was going to be shut down. We have lost all of our media, all of it. Washington Post, run by Bezos. TikTok, run by Donald Trump, friends and oligarchs. All of the networks, right? You have CNN going to get gobbled up. CBS is gone. They've crippled NPR and PBS, right? Like, folks, that like this is why you all are here, right? Like, y'all are not here by accident. You're here because you're trying to get to some point of truth, some point of clarity. And you're not going to get that from these places that have been bought and sold by the tech billionaires, by Donald Trump and his friends, all so that they can have this circle jerk so that you can remain in the dark, right? And that we have to wait on our northern neighbors in Canada, right? Or who is left of our allies to give us pirated information about what the fuck is happening in this country. Because you can't trust the broadcast.
Pirated 60-minute segments on
the
C-SPAN.
Pirated 60-minute sense. Folks, I'm telling you, again, abroad right now, watching foreign news, America looks, I don't have words for how America looks right now. What people are saying about America right now.
Can you tell us? I was talking to Anne, she's in Poland, and I won't mention where you are right now, but where you are right now, how are people viewing America?
With disgust and like despair. And how could you let this happen? Right? Like, how did you not see it the first time? Don't understand. They held America to a higher standard, some of them, than their own countries because they actually know the histories of their own countries. And what I continue to say is America is the best PR, but has been doing dirt around the world for, longer than we've had a constitution. But I just, what we look like is we are the predators. We are the axis of evil, right? The world is incredibly unstable because of the actions that are being taken. And again, they're like vampires that have tasted blood.
That's right.
With getting Venezuela, they are not going to stop there.
Nope. I did this tweet yesterday. And I never thought it would go viral. It went viral on both Twitter, which is a site I'm trying to use less because apparently Grok is perfectly fine promoting pornography and sexual images, AI-generated sexual images of women. Makes sense. Pervert son, pervert father. Elon Musk. Read about Elon Musk's dad, folks, and about the rape allegations and sexual assault allegations against his own children. But I digress. I did this post yesterday, Danielle, to your point. Folks, nobody is going to stop Trump from taking Greenland. He's going to take it, explode NATO, and turn our allies against us. All of it will add up to a massive blowback, I can't read today, overreach, and the world increasingly turning against us. Russia and China will continue celebrating. MAGA rubes won't realize how screwed we are until it's too late. That was last night. It has like 6,100 likes. And, the reason why I said it is I hate being a cynic. That was a pragmatic post because I sat there and I thought about it. Who stopped Trump from illegally invading Venezuela? They can't even get their story straight. Every time they try to spin it, Donald Trump just comes out and admits it. Oil, I want their oil. And then yesterday, I don't know if you saw his post. I'm going to run the oil. We're going to sell it at a market price. It makes no sense because
Oh no, no,
they
no.
literally.
Oh, just also say what he said. Who's going to subsidize the oil companies as they build out Venezuela's infrastructure? Did you hear that
Who?
part?
Who?
Us, the
Oh,
American people.
yeah, yeah. And then
He said the government, us, right? The taxpayers are going to subsidize Exxon and Chevron and BP and the rest of them who are how much money do these oil companies have, right? Enough to build Donald Trump a ballroom. So he's giving them a kickback. And then what are they going to use to build out the infrastructure that's going to cost billions of dollars in Venezuela? Our tax dollars to do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. And he's going to sell the oil at market price. And then he alone is going to control the revenue from that to help Venezuela and the United States. None of this is e- even high people don't have these ideas. And he's not high. As Susan Wiles said, he has an alcoholic's personality. The man doesn't drink. And also, it's not that easy to get the oil. He just thinks literally just go there and suck up the oil like Daniel Day-Lewis from There Will Be Blood. No, you have to find the oil, take it out, refine it. The entire process takes years. We don't have infrastructure there. We don't have boots on the ground. Who's running it? A repressive regime. Already, the repressive regime is cracking down on rebels. More and more rebels will grow because, as a result, they see a foreign country implementing a dictatorship and literally extracting their number one resource for their benefit. And he's threatening Colombia. Colombia has already said, the Colombian president, Venezuelans are brothers and sisters. We want to abandon them. And then he's gone after Cuba. And then he's gone after Mexico. And he's threatening Canada. So I said that about Greenland because, again, folks, every single day when he's asked, he says, it's ours. We need it. Today, little Marco said, Donald Trump said he's going to buy Greenland. Yes, he will. And so, honestly, Danielle.
And the Prime Minister of Denmark continues to say, Greenland is not for sale.
And then yesterday, the European allies have said, we got Greenland's back, Denmark's back. Denmark is a NATO ally. If you invade a fellow NATO country, or if a fellow NATO country is invaded, it triggers Article 5, which then does Avengers Assemble, and then all the NATO allies come. All right. But, Danielle, he just got away with invading Venezuela. He just got away with kidnapping Maduro and his wife. Garbled narrative. Essentially, he's just essentially said oil. Nobody stopped them. Suppose in some weird way he actually does it. He just goes and says, I'm going to take Greenland, even though it's going to be very difficult. Who's going to stop him, Danielle? Let's be honest with me.
This is, again, who's going to stop him? It would require the entire world to turn on the United States and for the enemy of my enemy to become my friend, meaning Russia to team up with China, to team up with the rest of the European allies to take out the United States. Like, that's it. And I'm telling you, I believe that we are living in a scenario at breakneck pace where we think that Putin and Xi Jinping are kind of sitting back and they're like, let this motherfucker do it. We're going to take our piece. Don't worry about it. He's not going to stop at the Western Hemisphere. He's not going to stop at what is considered his, right? Because we have the largest military. That's where we put all of our money and resources. He's building up the Gestapo on the ground to quell us from having any type of resistance. So you have ICE doing that, the military then abroad, picking off all of these nations. Like World War III.
Well, you know what?
World War III.
And you know, I just had this conversation with Ann Applebaum. There was about 3,500 people watching. I strongly recommend listening to it when it's up later today. We talked about the inevitable blowback and consequences, and there are. She talked about it, right? She's been writing about this for a long time. You know, mano a mano. no one can take on the United States of America because of our military, because we spend more on our military than any other country on earth, even as children starve. But I digress. But it didn't matter in Vietnam. It didn't matter in Iraq. It didn't matter in Afghanistan. What happens is blowback. We overextend ourselves. It
Yep.
drains us of our resources. We get discombobulated. There's boots on the ground. The people get angry. It's what Osama bin Laden said, death by 1,000 cuts. That was his
Mm-hmm.
strategy. Draw out America in a prolonged war that it can't win. And then you see more and more body bags go home. You see more and more resources. You see more and more people get upset and go against military interventionism. In a way, I hate admitting this. Osama bin Laden was right. Death by 1,000 cuts. Look what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. After 20 years, we left with our tails tucked between our legs. You know, people didn't embrace us as liberators. The Taliban literally are back in power. Billions of dollars, trillions of dollars wasted. More than 1 million
Mm-hmm.
Iraqi dead. Right. So now, what's going to happen as a result of all of this, folks? America is going to be further isolated,
Yep.
further hated. Danielle's in a
Yep.
foreign country right now. She's telling you straight up, Canadians are straight up like elbows up. I was there earlier in the year and they were like pissed. All right. There's guerrilla groups, rebellion, right? There's terrorism against US infrastructure, US companies, US tourists, more kidnapping, right? Already the rest of the world is turning away. Our allies are turning away from us. Canada is openly saying, okay, we'll do business with China. China says, okay, F you soybean farmers, we'll go to Brazil and Argentina. Tourism has dropped, right? More and more will be diseased. So, if anything, it doesn't make America great again. It makes America more weak, more isolated, more hated. And who's benefiting? Russia and China and oligarchs and authoritarian countries around the world, because China is going to be like, all right, no rules based order anymore. We'll take Taiwan. Israel's like, cool, we'll just go and take West Bank. Russia's like, we're going to go after, I don't know, whatever we want. Ukraine, Poland, Baltic, right? And
Yep.
America, meanwhile, is like, and you saw it with Stephen Miller and his articulation of the Don Roe doctrine, military might belongs to us. Just grab them by the pee. When you're powerful and rich, you can do it. But the consequences. And Danielle, right now in America, I know you're abroad. You know, usually there's that sugar high anytime we do a military intervention. There's 80, 90% support rate. So his poll numbers have slightly gone up, but even the
Right.
poll numbers, they're split. Like a large part of America a week out is like, yeah, this sucks. And especially now as he's saying, we're going to run Venezuela's oil indefinitely. That came out earlier today.
Yep.
We're going to run America. Military options are on the table for Greenland. He said that yesterday.
Yep.
How much more will Americans take, Danielle?
I mean, that's the fucking, $1 trillion question. That's the $1 trillion question. We need to get fucking activated. I've been calling for a national strike since January 20th, 2025, right? I've been saying we need a rolling strike. We need to shut this country down. Things are not going to get better. They're going to get worse. That we're going to look back at some point in 2026 at 2025 and think to ourselves, damn, we had it good, right? Like that's how aggressively bad things are going to get. And so it is going to take the people of this country taking their fucking heads out of the sand and recognizing that there is no amount of distance and ostrich-like behavior that is going to make you or keep you safe. There isn't, right? Safety is an illusion inside of a fascist, rabid regime, right? Everything and everyone is on the table. And the only way to stop them is not to believe in this fictional idea that midterms are going to happen and, oh my goodness, and then Congress is going to come back in session and, oh, Democrats are going to impeach, blah, blah. Hakeem Jeffries already fucking said, you know what? Even if we were to get power, we're not going to try and impeach Hegseth, who's a fucking war criminal. We're not going to try and do these things. And then you're talking to me about Schumer, Bear Hug, and Marco Rubio. Like, the system, the country is fucking broken. Broken. And I need America to shake the shit out of itself in order to wake up to that reality. And I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe it will be this woman who was just shot in the fucking face by ICE. Maybe it will be that. Maybe she will be the spark to the revolution. I don't know. But how many more people have got to die? Right? How many more people have to lose their jobs? How many more people have to lose their homes? Right? Like before the collective masses decide that it isn't just going to be a Saturday that you're going to have a resistance, moment, that it is going to be, we're shutting this shit down indefinitely until we take our fucking country back. That's it. So I don't know.
And folks, Senator Tina Smith, a post, a U.S. citizen has apparently been shot by ICE agents in Minneapolis. I'm gathering information, but the situation on the ground is volatile. ICE should leave now for everyone's safety. Please be safe, Minneapolis. And Mueller, she wrote, Allison said, local and state law enforcement are there now. And to end this in the last 3 minutes before Danielle has to leave, folks, we're harsh here because we want to save the country and our freedoms and our democracy. The people who engage in civility politics all normalized Donald Trump. They're the ones who said racial trip up, racial flare up. Don't be critical against MAGA. Wad, you brown cow, you're so mean. How dare you
Not you,
take them
brown
on?
cow.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk did politics the right way. Can't we all just get along? They're all part of the same club. They party together, they sleep with each other, they cheat on each other, they go to the same golf clubs, same churches, same synagogues. It's a big club, and the Democratic establishment is part of it. They all suck from the same corporate teat. They're all part of the same ecosystem. These people want restoration. They don't want reformation. You don't see them talking about abolish ICE. You don't see them embracing Mamdani. You see them rather embracing Cuomo. You saw the tepid response to Donald Trump illegally kidnapping Maduro, right? You saw them all lead with, well, Maduro was a criminal, because they're all paid off by the same oil companies. You saw the centrists bend the knee and cave during the government shutdown. And now, guess what? Republicans did not extend the Obamacare subsidies. By the way, all those 8 centrist Democrats paid off by the airline lobby. This is why we are so harsh right now, because we have a generational crisis and a generational moment to demand more. It's not enough. This milquetoast centrism, this bullshit. Folks, a person, a woman, was killed by ICE. So when everyone says, Waj and Danielle, you're being too extreme by abolishing ICE, what we said is ICE is going to be a Gestapo that is going to kill people. We've said it for a year. Now look what happened. But when it was brown people and black people and transgender people, it was okay. When we say stuff like call him a fascist and authoritarian, now, brown cow, how dare you say that? Now you see.
Yep.
Take him literally and seriously. And no one's going to listen to me and Danielle. I'm a Muslim man. Danielle is a black woman. But people love white people in this country. And white women and white men, well, not white women as much, but Karens still have a lot of power. But if you're listening, and we've said this before, if you have wealth, use your wealth and your whiteness. Because I'm sorry, folks, this is just the reality. White skin is a superpower in this country, and your grievance and your rage matters more than ours. So when we saw white folks at the front lines, when we saw white folks marching in No Kings, you see this country somewhat pay attention. We need more white faces in the front, supporting us with the Multicultural Alliance. I'm just talking about strategy, folks. I know some people might not like hearing this. I'm just keeping it real. And we need people all in to speak out. When it came to ICE, folks, they just murdered a woman. You all thought it was a brown problem, a black problem. Nope. It's an American problem. It's a national security problem. This is the Gestapo. They're coming after everyone. So we're all in this, folks. The rest of us are canaries in the coal mine, the pro-Palestinian activists, the undocumented immigrants, the transgender students, the people who come from shithole countries, the Muslims. But at the end of the day, fascists come for everyone. And voila, you're seeing it. Danielle, final word to you. If I was too blunt and harsh, correct me.
You said everything. It's the reason why you and I teamed up years ago to do Democracy-ish, to speak truth to power.
It's because Danielle was really desperate and needed a co-host.
But like the reality is that I need more white people to be enraged and actionable, because you are the ones that need to be on the front lines, as was just articulated, because you know who they're not shooting? Y'all. Do you know the moment that black and brown people show up in mass, we are going to have martial law. And we understand that, right? And we did not cause Donald Trump. White America did. right? And I don't want to hear well, I didn't and blah, blah, blah. Your family fucking members did. Your colleagues did, right? Our responsibility is to speak to the masses, and your responsibility is to take a pieces, right, that we say to you and spread it and do the work and get out there. Because what is going to happen in Minnesota, in Minneapolis right now, this regime is going to go full fucking force, because the protests are going to come and they're going to be big. And I'm telling you, they are going to put the hammer down and make that city an example to the world. Oh, Waj, I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Speaking about Minneapolis, who have they tried to demonize for the past 3 weeks? They've already fertilized the hate against Somalis, against Ilhan Omar. So they're going to go all in. And folks, a lot of white folks in Minneapolis as well. And I think this was a white woman who was killed by ICE.
Do we? Oh, and I said that it probably wasn't. And if it was, we've been telling you, y'all not safe.
Folks. This is it. Abolish ICE. Abolish it. We don't need it. ICE was created in the 21st century after the war on terror. There was no ICE in the 20th century. This country had no problem destroying the Department of Education, had no problem destroying USAID, which existed long before ICE. We don't need it. If this is what ICE does to shoot white women in suburbs, do we need it? And do we have to sit there and cozy up to them? And you ask your government, your Democratic mayors to say, we're going to hold ICE accountable. F them. I need fighters, man. I need fighters, and we demand better. We should demand more, and we deserve better than what we have, than the Chuck Schumers. I'm sorry, folks. This is it. They're literally going after Greenland, threatening Mexico, threatening Cuba, threatening Colombia, literally gobbling up Venezuela's oil. It's happening in real time. What more do you need to see? And Danielle and I have always worried about the fact that we bring the receipts and we take Trump literally and seriously. I want to just bring one more final point here. When asked about the Insurrection Act, Donald Trump did not say no. Pam Bondi has already invoked it, and Stephen Miller has already invoked it. If things are getting really desperate, this same administration that incited the violent insurrection, that spread lies yesterday, that mocks Capitol Hill police officers, that tried to do a coup, why is it impossible for them then to go for martial law? And if you think I'm crazy, I say you're suffering from a failure of imagination. Now's the time. Be loud, march, be proud, demand more, and get rid of these weak centrist Democrats. I'm telling you, man, just get rid of them. They're not going to help you. All these people say vote blue no matter who. I completely disagree. You have a few months left for the primaries. What have they done for you? It's been 10 years. Just believe people after they show you who they are with their actions. They ain't made for this moment. They're not built for this fight, folks. And if you think it's inevitable, it's going to be a Klobuchar or a Gavin Newsom, Mamdani came out of nowhere, folks. And I do believe the future leader is going to be an outsider, an anti-establishment fighter. Back in the day, even though he's not anti-establishment, everyone thought it would be Hillary Clinton. Barack Obama came out of nowhere, folks. So there's a lot of time left. Don't be content with the crumbs. Imagine better, demand more, fight for it. Danielle, shamelessly promote yourself.
I appreciate you, my friend. Folks, you're watching this on The Left Hook and The Damn Digest. Waj and I keep all of our content free because we're terrible capitalists and our parents are, disappointed in that. But if you have the ability, to become a paid subscriber, we're both running a special right now. It is a forever special, meaning that if you sign up now at the rate 20% off for me, think 25% off for Waj, it will be the rate that you have forever. If you have the ability to do so, consider becoming a paid subscriber to support independent media and support our work. I'm about to hop off here. Waj has somebody at 2:30. I'm going live on YouTube on the Danielle Moodie channel with my show to talk more about the shooting and to talk more about the empire that Donald Trump is trying to build and who is responsible for that empire and exactly the kind of world that they're trying to create. And just so you know, Peter Thiel, Andrew Seen, Elon Musk, they all got a hand in it. And they're all carving up the world for themselves. So that's coming up next.
and I got Harry Dunn coming up, Officer Harry Dunn, a hero. I'm just inviting him right now. And then at 2:30, I got Ken Klippenstein, and at 3:30, Rokan is joining us again. All right, Daniel, go, go, go. Enjoy. Go watch Danielle, and if you want to come back, go back and forth between me and Danielle. Take care, Danielle. I'm going to keep
Bye,
this
my
up. I
friend.
just invited Harry. Hopefully, he says yes. Bye, Danielle. And I'm going to keep
Bye.
going right now. Give me 1 second, folks. Thank you all for joining us. There's 1,700 people. I was talking to my co-host Danielle Moodie, who's out of the country right now, and we were talking about the breaking news of an ICE agent murdering a woman in the suburbs of Minneapolis. We have Harry Dunn here. Harry Dunn, a hero, a former police officer for on Capitol Hill, who was there 5 years ago trying to defend our democracy, and who had to endure the pain, the trauma, and also then the gaslighting that was done yesterday by the Trump administration. And I'm so happy that you were on, Harry. I know you were very, very busy yesterday. I'm sure you were exhausted, but I want to talk about accountability
Yeah.
because, I mean, we're just talking about the breaking news right now. I'm sure you saw ICE agents killing this woman.
Bro, murdering that woman. Murdering. Unbelievable. Well, we can't start. We got to stop saying unbelievable. It is believable because this is the world that we're living in now. This is Donald. And also the statement that DHS put out afterwards talking about that she was a rioter and blah, blah, blah. Unbelievable, bro. Like
Have
I
you
hate
seen the video? I saw the video. It was horrifying.
it's horrific. Eyewitness accounts, live video. They gotta prosecute. I'm never the one to, especially as a former officer. I was like, yo, let's wait and see. Like it, like I get it, but holy hell, that was man,
For
pathetic,
those
bro.
who haven't seen and those who are joining us in Minneapolis, there's a video out now. It's a suburban street. There's a car in the middle of the road. ICE agents are behind her. Two ICE agents get out, trying to, say, move, move, move. And then, folks, literally, I'm watching it. I don't see nothing. All of a sudden, this guy comes out, shoots the
Yeah,
driver. She drives for about 100 feet and then crashes. And then a passenger said that this ICE agent straight up just shot her in the head 3 times and she's dead. And it's a
yeah,
white woman.
yeah, yeah, bro. Like I, I'm like lost for words. That's what I said. We got to stop saying like this is unbelievable. I can't believe it. We absolutely can't believe this. Like this is Trump's America now. This is what whether you voted for. Well, excuse me. If you voted for Donald Trump, this is what you voted for. Whether you say, "Oh, I
Exactly.
didn't know he was going to do this," well, you weren't paying attention then, because this is what Stephen Miller and Kristen. This is what all these people wanted, this ethnic cleansing and just our way or the highway. I think a lot of times Donald Trump does the shit that he does, or it's not even because Donald Trump wants to. It's more so I can do this and no one can stop me.
Yep.
Like I dare you to stop me. Like I mean, does he even want Greenland, or does he even want it, or he just wants somebody to dare tell me no? I dare you to tell me no. Like watch me do this because I can. And that's the type of person that Donald Trump is. Those are the people that he surrounded himself with. Hegseth and Christy Nome, Marco Rubio's dumbass, like all this stuff that's going on in the world. And I know we're here to talk about January 6th,
No,
but
no, no.
it's so
It's
much
all part of
stuff.
it.
It's all of it, bro. Like Don, like it makes me even more sick thinking about Congress, because that's your Article 1, like that co-equal powers, co-equal branches of government, and it's literally just one branch of government running the world right now. Congress has laid down, well, Mike Johnson had laid down any authority that he has, and it's just surrendered it to Donald Trump. God, these midterms cannot come soon enough, man. Because like that's like everybody's talking, what can we do? What can we do? Elections matter, guys. Elections
That's right.
matter, and they mattered. Past tense. So there's nothing we really can do right now. I mean, sure, outside of a couple moral victories and a couple wins that we've gotten in the courtroom and stopping a couple deportations. Yay, judges saw and did the right thing. But outside of that, we need somebody that legally is going to stand up with their constitutional power. And God dang, we got to win these midterms, man. Sheesh.
And there's a lot I brought you on to talk about what does accountability look like. And
Yeah.
I I'm look. You're a former police officer. I don't know where you're on this. I'm only speaking for myself. I've been saying this for a while. Abolish ICE. We don't need it. It didn't exist in the 20th century. It was created after the war on terror. If this country has no problem getting rid of USAID, Department of Education, if ICE is now masked armed agents acting on behalf of a rogue state, acting as the Gestapo, straight up murdering people, terrorizing people, how does this help in any way, shape, or
I'm with
form
it.
border security?
I'm with you. But you know what? You know what also would help border security? A clear path to citizenship, reformed immigration. Like that would take care of the need for ICE and everything. Hey guys, how about a clear path? Because it's already been proven that immigrants are the backbone of this country. Immigrants contribute more to this country than so many naturalized citizens that are born here. Immigrants do so much for this country. All right, how about we make it an incentive for them to come here? Jesus Christ, man. Like it makes me so frustrated.
No, it's I think that's a righteous rage, and I think it's healthy and normal to have righteous rage about masked armed agents literally killing
Yeah,
a white woman who was just driving an SUV, and that's not the only person who they've killed. And now what we found out, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, folks, but it's all related.
yeah,
Now what we found out is ICE plans $100 million year-long wartime recruitment. Their words media blitz to attract new agents who are gun enthusiasts and straight up psychopaths. ICE
yeah,
adds 12,000 agents after nationwide recruitment campaign. And the Hilton Hotel, and talk about the complicity of these organizations, these institutions. Hilton, after one of the Hilton chains refused canceled reservations for
yeah.
DHS. I don't know if you saw today. They're like,
Good for them, by the
we're
way.
sorry. We
But
have
I mean, that's
reservations
crap
again.
though. But good for them initially. But you know that backlash becomes real, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, our bottom line, our dollar. Forget our morals. Forget what we're doing, what we think is right, because Lord forbid these companies actually have a voice and get to use it." It's so damn. But excuse me. But yeah, abolish. I'm cool with that. Like it's especially there's no reform right now going on. There's no reform going on right now. It is Donald Trump saying, "Yo." Donald Trump said it on the what is it, August 18th or something, in the Oval Office, when he first sent the National Guard into Washington D.C. And I think it was back in August when this first started happening. And he said verbatim, "Law enforcement, do whatever the hell you want to do." So if you have the boss saying do whatever you want to do, who's gonna tell them not to? Like these the local prosecutors, the state attorney, is that Mr. Ellison, I believe, in Minnesota. I think is he. I think he's still in that role. I know he was, but the attorney general, they have got to look at this case and they have got to prosecute and make or get a grand jury.
Absolutely.
This has to go before a grand jury, and you have to let the community decide, because we saw it. We saw it, and there has.
I think you're right. Beyond abolish ICE now, it's abolish, prosecute, and jail. Uh,
Yes.
and and Keith Ellison is the Attorney General, and we need Democrats to be stronger. We need Democrats to fight. I need fighters. And
I like
and
Mr.
and you
I like Attorney General. I like Mr. Ellison, a former congressman. I think that he is a fighter, and from what I know so far, like I said, I think highly of him, and I don't think that him nor Tim Walz are going to let this go unaccounted for, based on what I know so far. And maybe I have high hopes, but I don't have any reasons not to, based on those two individuals that I just named. But let's see what happens.
And Tim Walz is now balls to the wall. He has nothing to lose. I'm sure you saw his press
Yeah,
conference where he's like, credit
sure.
me, not Republicans. Credit me, Democrats, not Republicans, for everything that has benefited
Yeah.
Minnesota. I agree. Balls to the wall fighters. What more needs to be seen? And we've seen what happens when there's a lack of accountability. You know what happens? January 6th happens. You know what happens?
Absolutely.
Pardoning the violent insurrectionists. You know what happens yesterday on what should have been a somber day where we should have memorials? A J.D. Vance, the vice president, mocks and ridicules all of the Democrats and put sombreros on their head. And you saw January 6th violent insurrectionists, many of them march back to the Capitol. And I'm sure you saw the video that probably enraged you, mocking the
Yeah.
police.
Yeah.
They were
No, I did.
mocking the police.
I did see all that, and I know a lot of people are, really upset, rightfully so, as you should be. And I took a little different approach. I've been upset. I've had this same level of rage that I've had for the last 5 years. Like this isn't new to me. Like what we saw yesterday on January 6th, what we saw from the White House on the official White House website blaming the police officers. Yesterday they posted it. They've seen the rioters obviously getting pardoned, asking for reparations, filing lawsuits against the Department of Justice for paydays and stuff like that. I knew it was coming. I've been fighting this fight since January 7th, 2021. So this isn't new to me, and I appreciate everybody that's kind of reached the level of rage, upset, anger that I am now, that I have been. But when you said like, when we first started talking, you just said, "What does accountability look like now?" Well, initially it was to hold Donald Trump accountable and anybody responsible. So we saw how that turned out, right? Like. Well, although Jack Smith dismissed with prejudice, or whatever the one is that it can be brought up later. So maybe there's a still small smidgen of hope there, but I'm not banking on it. So now what are we seeing from this administration? They're trying to whitewash, lie, change the narrative about what happened that day. So, all right, challenge accepted. I refuse to let y'all whitewash, lie about what happened, the insurrection that Donald Trump is solely responsible for. Everybody that was arrested, everybody that lost their life, Donald Trump is responsible for that. Their deaths, their blood is all on Donald Trump's hand, period. And under no circumstances can we let them, well, I refuse to let them, me personally, and I'm everybody listening, I know that y'all are in the fight with me too, so thank you. But we will not let that happen. So accountability, what does that look like for me? And it feels like I have to move the goalpost every week, because it's like, damn, okay, now, and I feel like sometimes I just feel like shit. Is it even worth it anymore? So now I look at anybody that supports him, anybody that's an enabler of Donald Trump. Well, I'm coming for your ass, metaphorically speaking, of course, because I don't believe in violence, obviously. But I'm coming for you. And if you are running in an area where I am going to be supporting your opponent, and if you were involved in January 6th, or if you didn't support the police or any Republicans that are refusing to hang up the plaque to honor police, then I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you and I'm supporting anybody that's running against you, because you don't have a spine. You don't deserve to be in Congress, because you can't tell the truth about one of the darkest days in American history.
Yeah, amen, Harry. And
Sorry, man, I'm just on a rant.
No, you deserve it. And folks, I don't know if you followed it yesterday because there was so much news. As Harry mentioned, it's so egregious, and I decided not to share it because I didn't want to share the propaganda. On the White House website, they have literally, it's like 1984. Completely rewrote history and did a complete fabrication where they blamed Democrats and the police officers for January 6th, blamed Nancy Pelosi, even though literally you had January 6th rioters say, "You can't gaslight me. We were there. It was MAGA. It was incited by Donald Trump." As of now, folks, 5 years on, Donald Trump still promotes the lie that he won an election that he lost. 80% of Republican voters believe the big lie. And then yesterday, J.D. Vance and all these right-wing influencers mocked and ridiculed the Democrats when they did a small visual because police officers have died, folks. They were traumatized and died as a result. And those people that were there, many of them were violent insurrectionists who were convicted. Some of them were convicted for seditious conspiracy. And they're out. Enrico Tarrio's out. Stuart Rhodes is out. And so, Harry, as a person who was there and who literally fought for his life against a mob, and where you were completely outnumbered and outgunned and you were doing your job, when you see these Republicans completely rewrite history and throw your colleagues under the bus, just purely from an emotional level, how do you respond?
Well, it's total bull. It's total bull. And Waj, I've said this before numerous times. I I pinch myself a little bit because I try to give Americans a little bit more credit, right? But we did elect Donald Trump twice. So it's kind of
Not
like,
you
all
and
right,
me.
not you and me, correct. But us as a whole, we did. So I try to give us a little bit of credit. But I believe we're smart. Like we believe our eyes. I respect you. You're one of the most brilliant people I know on social media, and and these pundits that we don't need a pundit. We don't need people like you, like me. We don't need members of Congress or the Senate to tell us what happened on January 6th. Like, we don't need a play-by-play analysis. Oh, if you freeze the frame here, look at that guy. He has a flag. And that everybody can watch with their own eyes and see what happened on January 6th. So they can attempt to rewrite it all they want and shift the narrative. We as Americans, I can only do so much yelling and screaming and begging and pleading to acknowledge what happened. Look at with your own eyes, and you saw what happened. Hell, don't even turn any sound on. Just mute the television and just watch it. And if you think that is okay, then America ain't the right place for you. Get the hell out the country, man.
I'm with you, man.
Disrespectfully, get the hell out of my country. Because this is not okay. This is not okay what happened on January 6th. And even afterwards, the aftermath of it, I think, makes me one of the most angry. The audacity of these people to try to characterize what happened other than an insurrection. And for the smart folks out there, let's go to the dictionary. A violent uprising against a government or an authority is the definition of insurrection. Period. It doesn't say there has to be an explosion and bombs and guns and hatchets and machetes and cannons and fireworks, or even succeed. A violent uprising against the government or an authority is the definition of an insurrection. That's what the hell happened 5 years ago.
And you said something that I've been saying now, and I say it openly because I have no quarter or appetite for placating or whitewashing triple Trumpers, for sitting out and reaching out across the aisle and being civil to people who demand that I be ethnically cleansed through remigration. I'm done. And people who in 2026, January 7th, have seen everything and still support this man, you're not just an enemy to our communities. I think you're an enemy to the American Constitution. I think you're the enemy to American democracy. And now I'm openly saying, I call them traitors. I said, if you're against birthright citizenship, you're a traitor to the Constitution. If you support a violent insurrection, you're a traitor to this country. If you're against diversity, you're a traitor to American values. If you're against a separation of church and state, you're a traitor to this country. Get the F out. Why are you here?
Yeah.
Go to Hungary. And by the way, no disrespect to
Orban would love
Hungarians, who are struggling under Orban, but go to Russia. Get the F out. America isn't your place. You hate the Constitution. You hate the founding fathers. You hate our religious freedoms. You hate the separation of church and state, and you hate free and fair elections. Get the F out of my country, you traitor.
Absolutely. Period. And you know what? That's one of the reasons why I ran for Congress. Listen, under normal circumstances, we have politicians that are able to sit across the aisle and go over budget lines and say, hey, we'll do $1 billion here and $2.6 million here. And that ain't me. Like, I don't do that. I don't even know how to work Microsoft Excel, let alone talk about budgets and stuff like that. But I do know how to fight. And that's what we need in Congress. In this day and age right now, we need fighters, people that are going to stand up to authoritarians, to wannabe dictators, wannabe tyrants, the orange asshole that occupies the Oval Office. We need people that are going to stand up to that and that are going to fight back. And there are a few. I'm not going to say that all Democrats right now are weak. There are some. But we do have a lot of strong fighters out there, and we need to throw our support behind them and keep supporting them because they are fighting an uphill battle. And it's going to take all of us to overcome, and not just overcome and overtake, but to rebuild. And I think I also, and I'm not going on a whole different topics, I want people to understand the next Democratic president, man, I feel sorry for them because America is going to expect everything to go back to normal while that person is president. And it's going to suck, I believe, because the damage that this administration has done in 11, 12 months and 1 year, it's already going to take a generation to repair. You don't just go back and reestablish the Department of Education or USAID or look at the vaccines, that the people that are getting sick and the lives that are being lost. We're losing already a generation of people that are not going to be mandated to the vaccines. So I mean, there's going to be a lot.
It's generational. I'm so glad you mentioned that because I was talking to David Rothkopf, who's going to probably come back this week, and this was a couple of months ago, and this was in the summer. And speaking about the dismantling of our institutions, and this is before.
Yeah.
Now this Dunn Roe doctrine, right? But he was talking to experts in D.C. People who are part and parcel of institutions, and they said it's not just generational damage. Maybe it's generations damaged,
Mm,
1 to 2
wow.
generations. And I think that's a very important point, Harry, because people want a quick fix in America. There's no quick fix. People want a
None.
haymaker against fascism. It's death by 1,000 cuts. People think
Yep.
that if inshallah, we have 2026 midterms and 2020 elections, that if a Democrat wins, it'll be fine. Nope. Nope.
Mm,
This is a long walk, Harry. This is a long
yeah.
walk. And I don't know if I'm going to be alive to see the turnaround, but we're going to go through some stuff. But I do think anyone who thinks that restoration is the answer instead of reformation, I think those days are past, Harry. And this is where I want to
Yeah.
ask you about Democrats, because I agree with you. It's not all Democrats. We have some fighters, but the establishment, I'm done with them, Harry. Like,
Yeah.
have you seen Schumer and Jeffries, the complicity, the milquetoast type of centrism, this corporate centrism, this lack of fight? You cannot tell me that this is the best you can do, Harry. And if this is the best you can do, then I need you to get the F out of the way.
Yeah, no, I agree. In this moment, I think in this moment, because I am not one to just like give a hot take right now. We see a new great basketball player. Oh, this person's the best I've ever seen. Wait a minute. Like Michael Jordan would like a word, like relax. So I like to just because Chuck Schumer has done some things in over his career, but people need to meet the moment and be ready for the moments that we're in now. And that's why I applaud Nancy Pelosi. I love the work that she have done, but she stepped down. She said, "You know what? I'm done with the leadership," and she passed because through her wisdom and the work that she's done, and then she's retiring. She's going out. A lot more people need to follow that lead. You know what? I've done what I've done. My work speaks for itself. Now, don't let your legacy be tarnished. Step out. Bow out gracefully, like, and we're so nice as Democrats. We care about people, or even not. I don't even want to put a party title on it. Democrats, people that just believe in decency, if have a little bit of empathy. Sounds like people that should be Democrats, but I don't think empathy and decency are characteristics that you would label any type of Republican. But just when it's your time, just step out, man. And it makes me so upset. And hell, one thing I'll talk about you talk about the establishments. I think consultants have a lot to do with it
Oh, yeah.
too. Man, I seen it, and a lot of people talking about it. I got like 5 or 6 texts yesterday from Mark Kelly fundraising on January 6th. Like, why am I getting fundraising texts from Senator Mark Kelly? Mark Kelly, I support you. You're a great fighter. And I know he's not sending those texts out, but these consultants have gotten out of hand. And it makes it crazy. Like, hell, when I was running for office, I'll tell a quick, funny story real quick. It's texting and money is part of the game, which is, by the way, in Citizens United, that whole, that we got to overturn that, whatever. But that's a whole nother thing. But when I was fundraising, my father, he sent me a text. He said, "Son, I love you, but if you text me, ask me for $25 again, I'm done with you." And it's my own dad. So, but no, I get it. But it's just too much politics as usual and not enough meeting this fight that we're in right now. And
Absolutely.
this is not politics as usual. And I've seen a couple comments, people saying, "Harry, run for office again." I don't know. Maybe. I'm going to stay in this fight. I'm going to be wherever I'm the most useful and wherever I can do the most work that actually makes the most sense. And I will always be in the fight, but I haven't rolled that out yet.
But you're talking about, let me put it this way, to be generous. These Democratic leaders, they've done some great things, but they're clearly not built for this fight, and they're not made for this moment. And
Correct.
we've seen it for 10 years. They desperately want restoration. There's no restoration. They want to return to normal. There is no return to normal. This is a belligerent right-wing authoritarian force playing for all the marbles. They're playing for remigration to get rid of people like me and Harry and make this a white nationalist utopia.
Yep.
And they're trying to blow up the post-World War II rules-based order and carve up the world between itself. Russia, and China. If you don't believe me, open up your eyes, folks. I don't know what else to say. So we need brand new fighters. And speaking about this ICE shooting, it's
Sure,
blowing up.
man.
Mayor
Yeah.
Frey, 30 minutes ago, Mayor Frey says the following, quote, they, meaning, ICE and the Trump administration, are already trying to spin this as an act of self-defense. I've seen the video myself, and I want to tell everybody directly that is bullshit. He
Good.
said that at a press conference.
Good. That's a politician who gets it. Like, did he say bullshit? Did he say it?
Well, check this out. And he also said this, quote, I have a message for ICE. Get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Yes, hell yeah. That's what we need. Like, listen. I mean, I grew up in the church, and I grew up with decency. And my mom, I would never say a curse word around her, and I hope that she's not on the
Same here.
stream right now.
I rarely swear
Hope
also.
that she's not watching it. But no, like, God damn, we can't do this. We can't do this, man. And how are we being held to a higher standard when Donald Trump literally is talking about grabbing women by the pee and saying all of this and that? Like, give me a effing break. Yesterday I was asked about, the if anybody watched the hearing, the January 6th hearing, the lady, the 70-year-old grandma that apologized and rejected her pardon. And that's good. I mean, good. Like, but what am I supposed to say? Well, we're friends now? Like, you're still the reason why it happened. I'm glad that you feel bad about it. Yes, great. And people were upset. Oh, Harry, you should be easy on her. She wasn't, she didn't, blah, blah, blah. She rejected the pardon. Well, she wouldn't have needed a pardon if she wasn't there. She wouldn't have she served her time. Well, she wouldn't have served time if she wasn't there. So it just makes me angry. Like, why do I have to be accepting and forgiving of this lady? What,
Because you're a
me?
black man, you're a person of color, and we always
Please,
have to
bro.
love a country that doesn't love us back. We always have to be civil to people who are uncivilized. We always have to give the olive branch to the people who want to give us cyanide. We have to be saints, and they can be devils. That's
It's the
America.
worst, bro. Man, listen, I don't wish her bad. Like, oh, great. Good job for apology. What, do you want to go grab dinner now? No, we're not friends. We're not buddies. Like, okay, good. You did what you're supposed to do. Is that the bar now? Jeez
It's,
Louise, man. Makes me sick.
folks, it's a lot happening right now. We have breaking news, but we have Harry Dunn, who's been at the forefront for truth and accountability. And last question. A lot of people might, if you will, because, being informed is not as sexy as leading a rebellion. But I think people need to be informed with facts and need to have the truth, especially as the truth is under assault. Why is the truth of what happened on January 6th so important? And what is the truth that people should know about?
So why is it so important? Because when you distort history, history is distorted when the accountability is unserved, and we don't have accountability. There are able to talk and tell different stories about January 6th because not one person is in jail for January 6th. Not one person. So they can change the story all they want. In 100 years now, when they're reading about January 6th, when they're reading about it, right? And some senior in high school is doing their senior thesis or project, or even in college, and they're saying, man, back in 2021, there was a president that fomented a mob and sent them to stop the certification election. And then they'll ask the question, they'll say, well, what happened to the president afterwards? What happened to that leader? Oh, he was elected president again? How the F did that happen? And that's what they're going to be asking ourselves 100 years, 200 years from now when they're reading these history books. Like, when you ask, like, how the heck did he made it out of that? Like, he's elected? Accountability is denied. So they can rewrite the history, or they could try. They could try. Like I said in the beginning, no effing way. Well, not on my watch, and not on the people in this chat's watch, not on your watch. We're going to keep on standing up. And, I would love to get over January 6th. Hey, that's all y'all got. All you do is keep talking about January 6th, and you guys need to move on. I would love to. I love to move on from January 6th, Waj. I would. But when you got the president and the administration continuing to lie and whitewash about it, okay,
Literally.
I'm here. You called? Now I'm here. You summoned me by lying about it. So once they start telling the truth about it, once they hang up the plaque, the January 6th plaque that I am suing the architect to have installed, once that's done and they'll stop lying about it, I'll go away.
And we don't.
Well, go away for January 6th stuff, but
Yeah,
still
but you'll
out
come.
here. Which, yeah. We'll stop talking about January 6th, you know. By the way, I wrote a book about it, and y'all can go purchase it anywhere. It's Standing My Ground, a Capitol Police Officer's Fight for Accountability and Good Trouble After January 6th. So as long as they're still doing it, go check out my book out. That's part of history. That's the record.
And Harry, as we end this, shamelessly promote yourself. Where can people support you in addition to buying your book?
Sure, I'm on Substack also. It should be listed here. A Standing Our Ground, because it's us, our OUR ground, and it's going to take all of us. So check me out on Substack, and also on Blue Sky, Libra Dunn 1. I don't use Twitter anymore because Elon and all them losers over there. So check me out
And
over there.
the Nazis have taken over.
The Nazis have taken over. And I do have Instagram too, Libra Dunn, Libra Dunn, Dunn. So yeah, man.
Thank
I'm
you,
here with
Harry.
you.
I
I
know you've
appreciate
been
you having
busy.
me, brother.
No, I know yesterday was tough. You've been fighting the good fight. I appreciate it. And I'm glad to have a former officer on here as we were talking about this horrible breaking news about ICE murdering someone. And even Officer Harry Dunn's like, you know what? ICE, peace out.
They gotta go, bro.
Yeah, accountability now and forever, folks. We need fighters, and we need fighters like Harry Dunn, and we need the truth as they try to retcon us and gaslight us. But we have the numbers, we have the majority. This is The Left Hook. Let me shamelessly promote myself, thelefthook.substack.com/special. Everything is free here, Harry. There's no paywalls. But if you do want to support me, instead of $5, I have a forever 25% off special for this month. It's a terrible capitalist New Year's special. $3.75 a month, folks, to support the Left Hook in these conversations. I hope you all could take advantage of it. Thank you, Harry. Take care of yourself. Brother. Be kind. And I'm going to be on with Ken Klippenstein in 2 minutes. Take care, buddy.
Talk soon, man. Later, buddy.